I am Amanda Farias, and I am the Marketing Project Manager here at ISSofBC.
Hi, my name is Matthew, pronouns he, him, and I'm the co-founder of AndHumanity, an inclusive marketing and communications agency.
My name is Phalak, Betab, and I'm the Communications, Marketing and Fundraising Officer with PICS Society.
Storytelling is the bridge that connects your organization with your target audience.
I think that storytelling is one of the most compelling tools you can use to create an effective communications strategy.
People are not looking for facts and figures, they're looking for stories because they rely more on stories, the human connection, the emotional aspect of things rather than connecting the dots with the facts.
If you think about it, people are inundated every single day with advertising, marketing, signage, whatever it may be, trying to grab their attention. But storytelling and stories are usually one of the few communications tools that transcend all that noise. The art of telling a good, compelling story, there's a science to it where that story goes from a sequence of events to something memorable instead. I love the idea of finding stories that people don't usually tell. And how do you usually do that? And where is the quote-unquote gold mine of those stories is usually within underrepresented communities who have not been given a voice and platform to tell their stories before. And because, settlement agencies like yourself engage frequently with these underrepresented communities and these folks going through major life transitions, I think there's so much opportunity there to tell more of these stories.
I can give you 3 different examples for this. The first one, the type of story would be inspirational. You can show a story of somebody settling in a country and is now successful. So that's is going to inspire the other person. The second form is going to be educational content, educational stories where you're telling the audience that how this person was able to become successful in what he did or she did. So that's educational. And the third could be entertainment stories, the eating habits, the sleeping habits, maybe some books to read, any kind of entertainment stories could be that. So these are just 3 different examples that I've shown, but there are other ways to create stories.
You can find the stories visually, so sometimes you are in an event, you are participating, organizing, and maybe someone like the program manager interview a client because you are opening a new cohort for a new program, and then you invite a client that has a success story and this person is sharing through this event. You also could use your staff story, volunteer story. Sometimes we don't realize that we are working with someone that is part of the target audience for your organization, right? Your team probably also receives sometimes some appreciation emails direct from the clients because they just would like to share the positive experience. So you can use, for example, some codes and build a campaign to promote a program or maybe an appreciation week, and then you could go through this content. Don't need to be just an article with like the entire story in one piece. It works a lot, but you can also be creative in the way collecting and also distributing the stories.
You have to always ask yourself, would you read this? Would you engage with this? Knowing that you are not the target audience or the end focus audience, but that's how you evaluate storytelling. Like, is this a story that you would tell your friends? Tell your family? Like, is it exciting enough? Is it interesting enough? And if it's not, then you haven't found your story, right? You haven't found your story yet. And I'm of the belief, and our agency is of the belief, is that everybody has an interesting story to tell. You just have to find it. You have to find it, and the only way to find it is to be curious and to ask the questions so that you can actually find that story.
You should make 100% sure that your client, this person is comfortable with it. And also make sure that they understand you are using this story through your external channels. Because sometimes the client give you consent, for sure you can use my story, but they do not understand that you are posting it through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, your website, newsletter. So it's important to be specific and make sure that the client is comfortable with it.
They should be ready and willing to share their stories, and the consent should be a written consent, not just a verbal consent. There are sometimes sensitive information involved related to this person or could be related to the organization, so make sure that you're not oversharing anything while you're sharing a story.
Truly inclusive storytelling that is effective digs deep into the raw cultural nuances of someone's story or someone's journey. If you're telling a watered down, diversity focused story, one that doesn't kind of dig deep, it doesn't dig deep into the nuances and the rawness of the emotions when it comes to this sort of journey or this individual story, then the end product, unfortunately, is going to be very surface level, and you'll have seen that story before. So what we try to educate people on at AndHumanity is the importance of raw, deep, culturally nuanced stories. So going deep and not wide.
Talking about the truth, what truly happens, that impacts the newcomer in a way that the person could feel represented and can feel supported.
Curiosity is important, asking a whole lot of questions, and focusing on quality, not quantity. Your goal is not to put out X amount of social media posts or X amount of stories. Your goal is to create content that is compelling, engaging, and helps people.
When you're creating stories for the audience, you need to be very mindful of the fact that who this audience is. So let's say you're creating a story for just your staff, that is internal communication, then you need to pick and choose the right person sharing that story. Contrary to that, if you're creating story for a general public, then the story has to be more broader, the topic has to be broader, which is more resonating with the general public. What they are looking for is something that this organization can help them with. If I say that, I'm offering English classes, that is one thing. But if I say that, please come take the English classes and then you might get a job, this is what this person is looking for. So when you're sharing the story, rather than focusing on promoting the organizations, promote the services and promote the benefits to this person in the form of storytelling, maybe some use cases, some real life examples.
When someone lands on your website or when someone watches video, you have like seconds of their attention. Because you only have seconds of their attention, you better get to the point very quickly. Be ruthless with your editing. Never fall in love with your work because it may need to be cut. And know that that work that you cut out that is really good is not wasted, because you can utilize that for other things, or you can know that that exists and that you know how to create good work too.
Remember that probably English is not the first language of your target audience, especially talking about our sector. So just be meaningful with the words that you were putting out. This is also important. When you are an organization and you just talk institutionally, you put yourself, the organization, in a place that is distant and it is not personal. And as a nonprofit organization, an organization for the sector that supports newcomers, this is the opposite that you want to, right? You would like to position your organization as someone that supports a newcomer.
We have a channel on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms like Instagram. We have extensively used storytelling methods. Every time we have a meet and greet at our head office, like our office, and there is a guest, we always make sure that we give them a tour, and after the tour we ask them about what was one thing that you learned about PICS today. And when they start sharing about what they saw during the tours and their experience, it just turns out to be a story. Lately we signed an MOU with the Stranger Story, which is a story sharing platform. So anything that resonates with PICS, the stakeholders of PICS, their journeys, their life experiences, we invite them to the PICS channel in collaboration with Stranger Story, and we ask them questions about their lives, their journeys, their immigration journey, their settlement stories. They are just ordinary people making extraordinary difference in the society.
ISSofBC is using storytelling through our annual impact report this year. So our main concept is using the 26,000 stories of our clients through this material. So this is a perfect example on how to use your institutional communication through the voice of our clients. And the second example is the learning and hope stories that we have through our website. And for sure, we also use these stories all along our social media channels and our newsletter. And the third example is ISSofBC recently launched our new brand, and we do have a video that talks about what this new brand represents, and we use some words that represent our client. Everything is related to the client. So even our tagline, welcoming newcomers, this is talking exactly what we are proposing the organization to do and actually what we actually do.
Curiosity is the foundation of telling good stories, because you will be curious about historical context, you'll be curious about why someone is thinking a certain way, you'll be curious about not just the story at a surface level, but the psychology behind the story. Knowing that when you interview a subject, or when you tell a story, or when you're tasked to tell a story, whatever it may be, dig deeper.
Make sure that the story that you are creating for your audience is authentic, it's genuine, and it's coming from a place where there is all transparent information, and that's how we are going to create the best stories for them. So go out there and come out with as candid stories as possible.
When you are thinking about storytelling, try to think with your client eyes, your client experience. It's important to think not only what the organization is trying to communicate, for sure you should consider that, but making sure that you are telling the truth, you are talking about your clients to your potential clients. So what is this human connection that you can build? This is the most special part of storytelling.